It is a spirit when you cannot tell how you feel. It was a mute spirit. It would not let him talk. It would not let him express anything. But then it went from being just a mute spirit to being a spirit that threw him down. Yeah, it went from one that wouldn't let him talk to making him act out what he could not say out. Because if you don't say it with your mouth, you will express it with your body. Whatever you are not able to say with your mouth, it's going to show up in your foshaya. It's going to show up in your flesh. If you're not able to say it, if you don't express, you will explode. If you don't express, you will implode, because you will blow up on the inside before it ever shows up on the outside. Could I please tell somebody in here right now that a lot of your addictions have nothing to do with the generational curse. A lot of your sickness has nothing to do with anything that's in your body. It's got to do with the fact that you ain't found no way to open your mouth. If you ever learn how to open your mouth, you'll find that you won't have to be the biggest hoe as you are. If you ever find a way to find somebody to talk to, you're going to realize you won't be as sick as you thought you were. That's why the doctors can't find nothing. The psychologists can't find nothing. You have to keep getting drunk. You have to keep getting screwed. You have to keep getting high, because you will not talk to somebody. Y'all sit down, please. You got to have some way to open your mouth. It is a spirit. That's what he says in Mark chapter number 9, verse 17 through 22. He says, my son has a spirit that won't let him talk. And when it won't let him talk, it makes him act out. And after he's able to act out in his body, it throws him down. Watch what it then says. Jesus comes on the scene, and when Jesus comes, he has no respect for him. Because once you have lost the ability to say how you feel and start feeling it in your flesh, you then don't have no regard for God or the things of God. The Bible then says that after it goes from that stage, watch this, that Jesus says, how long has your boy been acting like this? He said this problem came from his childhood. In other words, the imbalance in his life came because of an introduction of a demonic spirit at a time of an early stage of his life. I don't have time to get into this, but even psychologists tell us that a person's character is developed from the time they are 6 months to 6 years old. And that any trauma that they experience from that time to 6 months to 6 years old, you are then spending the rest of your life trying to train that thing as opposed to getting that thing out. That's why the Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should go, because that thing then tries to get control. And how do we train it? By whipping it, and by giving it timeouts, and by putting it on curfews, and by having schedules, and by making it go to bed at certain times, and by giving it chores. Because see, the only way you can get the spirit to learn discipline is to make it stop acting in extremes. Because the Bible says that the man says this has been happening from childhood, and it takes and throws him from fire to water. Did you all hear that? Read it when you get some time. It says in verse number 22, it throws him in the fire and in the water. Those are two extremes. Fire and water don't mix. This boy has no balance. He goes from one extreme to another. And I'm here to talk to somebody in here who is living a life of extremes. You are either all the way out there or you're all the way in here. You don't have any balance. You are either, every time somebody says good morning, hush, or when somebody say good morning, you're cussing them out. There is an extreme. You have no balance in your life. You are either trying to win people to Christ, or you're trying to think everybody is supposed to be yours. You either want to be sold out for Christ, or you think you're God's gift to every man and every woman. You've got to come to a point where you start understanding that there's got to be a balance in your life. Somebody holler for balance.